Welcome back, everybody, to yet another episode of your favorite podcast, Froggy the Gator. And I want to thank you all who have told your friends about Froggy the Gator, because as we like to say on this show, that is the best way to help Froggy the Gator grow, for you all to tell your friends about him. And if you haven't told your friends about Froggy the Gator, well, this is my invitation to do exactly that. You can start right now, and I offer you my thanks in advance. And today we are going to once again have a couple of jokes to start our episode. This first joke is from our listeners Jude and Salma, who are 6 and 4 years old, respectively. And just as a side note here, when I say respectively, do you know what that means? It means in the order I said it in. So if I say Jude, and then I say Salma, and then I say 6, and then I say 4, it means Jude is 6, and Salma is 4. So both lists of things are in the same order as each other, is an easy way to think about it. So here's Jude and Salma's joke, who are 6 and 4 respectively, and it goes like this. What did the tree say to the lumberjack? What did the tree say to the lumberjack? Do you have a guess? I'll let you think about it for a second. What did the tree say to the lumberjack? Are you ready? Here's the answer. What did the tree say to the lumberjack? I'm falling for you. I am falling for you. Hey-oh. There you go, Jude and Salma. Because the lumberjack was presumably cutting down the tree, so the tree is falling. But also, I'm falling for you means something different. It means like I'm falling in love with you, or I'm beginning to have more feelings for you. So it's a well-executed pun from Salma and from Jack. I think they're brother and sister, so thank you two. What a joke to get us started. And our second joke comes from my oldest son, once again, who insisted that I share his stroke of comedic genius with you, dear listeners. So here's his joke. Why does the cow dance onto the monster truck? Why does the cow dance onto the monster truck? And this is my not quite 4-year-old's joke. Why does the cow dance onto the monster truck? And the answer is because he loves to do that. Because he loves to do that. So, some esoteric, absurdist humor for you all today as well. Thank you, my son, for that joke. That is a classic, and I'm sure we'll be laughing about that the rest of the evening. And now, for today's story, which was inspired by one of our listeners named Elowin, who is 7 years old. And as our listeners know by now, Froggy really likes swimming. He likes going to Gator Grove Beach to swim, he likes going to Gator Grove Lake to swim, and he likes to swim at the community center pool near his house as well. And since the weather was getting warmer and it was finally nice enough to swim outside, he was spending a sunny Saturday afternoon at the outdoor pool at the community center. They also have an indoor pool, where Froggy has taken swim lessons before, but he was enjoying the outdoor pool with his family and with his friends, Mr. Hummus and Wormbird and Tomato Hedgehog. The guys were having a great time, and I mean a great time. They played a rousing game of Marco Polo, and Mr. Hummus was victorious in that because he was able to tag all the other guys. Then they played a hotly contested game of sharks and minnows, and Froggy actually won that one since he is Froggy the Gator after all, which means he's kind of like an amphibian reptile type guy, although we may never know for sure exactly what he is, but it means he's really good at swimming. They did a bunch of cannonballs and jackknives together, and they were all swimming up to the edge of the pool when Froggy noticed something. Wait a minute, he said, as he felt his face. Fellas, my goggles are gone. They're missing. What in the world could have happened to my goggles? Now, let me give you a little bit of background information on these goggles. These things were pretty special to our friend Froggy the Gator. Not only were they functional goggles in that they helped him see clearly underwater, which is extremely important whenever you're swimming and you want to dive for rings, or see your friends from across the pool, or just avoid smashing your face on the pool floor or pool wall or something. So not only were they functional in that way, but they were also special because they had holograms in them. That's right. The lenses had holograms, which are like cool shapes that reflect the light and look kind of 3D and colorful, and the holograms were actually pictures of sharks, which was even cooler and made these goggles even more important. "Oh man," Mr. Hummus said, "that's right. It looks like they fell off your head during one of our cannonballs or something. They must be underwater somewhere. Don't worry, Froggy, we'll start looking." So the guys spread out across the pool and looked underwater. They pretended they were great underwater explorers in submarines like Jacques Cousteau or James Cameron, exploring the mighty depths of the ocean. "This is Wormbird, reporting from my submarine," Wormbird said. "I see no goggles on this end of the pool." "Copy that," Tomato Hedgehog said. "I'm coming up negative on my end of the pool as well." "Likewise," Mr. Hummus responded from his own pretend submarine. "My kid's shallow end of the pool is also coming up empty as far as goggles are concerned, although I did find a couple of underwater rockets and some buried plastic treasure, which is nice, but not what we are currently looking for." "Oh man," Froggy said, as he and his friends all gathered back together in the shallow end of the pool. "This is awful. Where could my goggles have gone?" And just then, they heard the sound all kids dread when they're at the pool. A long, drawn-out whistle, blown by one of the lifeguards sitting high atop their lifeguard stands. Adult Swim. It was time to get out. Dejected, the boys all climbed out of the pool and went to sit together at a picnic table while they waited for Adult Swim to be over. There, they brainstormed where the missing goggles could possibly have gone. "I just don't understand it," Froggy said to his friends. "They were right here, right on my head. How am I supposed to see underwater without my goggles? And how did I lose them? And how are they not anywhere in the pool?" "Maybe a bird came and picked them off your head, then flew away," Wormbird said. "Maybe they got teleported to another dimension when you weren't looking," Mr. Hummus added. "Maybe they got blown off by the wind into one of the neighbors' houses and they're being baked into a tomato pie right as we speak," Tomato Hedgehog said. "No," Froggy responded. "None of those scenarios seem very likely. I guess I'll just have to get a new pair of goggles. And my parents were just talking to me about how important it was to be responsible for my things. What a mess." But just then, just as he thought it was hopeless, Froggy remembered something. "Wait a minute, guys. Remember when we were at the pool last summer and we found those frogs in the drains by the side of the pool? The drains they have set up to filter the water and collect leaves and stuff?" "Oh yeah," said Mr. Hummus. "There were frogs in there because they were floating by and they got sucked in." "That's right," Froggy the Gator said. "And you remember what my dad said when we showed him the frogs? He said, sometimes the drains collect things that they aren't supposed to collect. Usually they just collect leaves, like we said, but sometimes they suck up things that aren't supposed to be in there. Quick, guys," Froggy said confidently. "Let's check the drains." So the friends all fanned out across the pool and started lifting up the circular drains on the edges of the pool, where you could see the stuff that got collected in the pool drains. They found some leaves, they found some bugs, they found a couple of diving sticks here and there, and finally, at the last drain, right by where they were performing their expert cannonballs not 20 minutes earlier, Froggy lifted the hatch. And there, right before his eyes, with the sun shining down above, he saw his goggles. "Eureka!" he exclaimed. "We did it, guys!" And just then, they heard the loud whistle of the lifeguard. Adult Swim was over, and the friends all jumped back in the pool and enjoyed the rest of their Saturday together. The end.